Good news. I got a second chance at life. Bad news. I'm still in the womb, not yet born. I end my last life. My parents and brother drained me dry until I worked myself to death. This time around, I plan on breaking free from that family and living a life that's truly my own. Doctor. My wife is going into labor. Sensing that I was about to be born, I gave the fetus next to me a kick toward the birth canal. Off you go. I refused to be the older sister this time. In my past life, just because I was born a few minutes before James, my parents always made me take care of him and give in to him. Even though we were the same age, I was the one repaying car and house loans for him, while covering the mortgage for my parents. Friends and coworkers jokingly called me a helper demon or a walking ATM machine, and it strained my relationship with the whites. Thinking about this made my anger surge. I gave the unborn James another kick. He's here. He's here. It's a boy. Wow. Why are there 2 blue marks on this boy's back? Must be a birthmark. It'll fade in a few days. While the nurses and doctors were busy cleaning newborn James, I entered the world with a loud wail of my own. The next time I opened my eyes, I was laying alone at the foot of the bed. James was nestled in my mother's arms, guzzling milk, with my dad grinning like a fool by their side. Honey, you're amazing. You gave us a son. Rolling her eyes, Mom replied, I'll talk. Now hurry up and think of a name for our baby boy. Dad, beaming with pride, said, I've already thought of one, James. May he live a peaceful life. Offering barely a glance my way, Dad signaled Mom. Honey, there's another child. Just a girl. Any random name will do. Once James had his fill, Mom gently placed him in a cradle and reluctantly picked me up. She muttered, we now have a son. Why would we need a daughter to take his milk? Get some formula, the cheapest kind. Though I knew Mom never really liked me, the outright favoritism still stung. Ever since I could remember, the milk, snacks, and toys were all for James. Chores, scoldings, and dirty looks were mine. If James was their darling, then I was the weed they held. I had to be his little caretaker, getting his water, meals, and homework assignments at school, then take Mom's frustrations at home. It made me master reading people early on. The painful memories welled up, only firming my resolve to live this life well. Oh, my dear grandson. Where's my sweet grandson? A sharp voice announced who it was, none other than my grandma. As soon as she walked in, her eyes darting around, she caught sight of James's cradle. Her face lit up. What a chubby little grandbaby, what a gem. After smothering James with kisses, she spared me a quick glance. Second daughter-in-law, why not give this girl to Emily? With no kids, she and Thomas are constantly bickering, and it gives me headaches. The Emily grandma mentioned was my aunt, married to Uncle Thomas. As I recalled, they'd never had kids. Contemplating the idea, Mom looked down thoughtful. Not having it, Dad retorted, Mom, how can you say that? We've got enough land to raise 2 kids. I'm just thinking of your own good. But do what you will. Grandma expertly feigned innocence and went to play with her grandchild, sensing Dad's annoyance. Robert, let's give her to Emily. She'll treat this child well as she doesn't have any. Even after Dad hesitated to speak, coming up with actually, having a sister for James isn't all that bad. It was clear Grandma's suggestion was heavily considered. Sister? Humph. Even if adopted, she'll get called sister when she's back. She'll owe us. Putting James through school, or even aiding in his marriage. It was laughable. In my previous life, they tied me to the title of Big Sister, and it drained my life spirit drop by drop. Despite only a few minutes difference, my entire life was bound to it. So James came first, and still, I couldn't escape being labeled his sister. Is this fate? It was evident that no one cared to ask baby me what I wanted. To save a few cans of formula, they decided quickly, bundled me up like a burrito, and handed me off with Grandma to be taken away. Aunt and Uncle gave me a new name, Sophia. Instantly, you could tell by the name alone my worth in the Martin family was akin to treasured jewels. I reciprocated with sweet Mom and Dad addressed to them, making them beam with joy. My birth parents became Mr. Robert and Miss Susan to me instead. Fast forward 3 years, I grew into a chubby-faced toddler from a frail baby. Life with my aunt was an absolute joy. As the only child in the Martin household, I was indulged like an only daughter. Aunt treated me like her own eye, Imported snacks and milk flooded the house. Uncle, though quiet, pulled comics from his pocket as he returned from work, smiling when he saw my excitement. "Sweetie, next time Daddy will bring you another. You're the best, Daddy. I like you the most." I clung to his arm, a sight that made Aunt glow with happiness. At moments like these, I'd silently thank Grandma. Though she used me as a favor, she did one good deed. Yet, some nights I'd feel it was all too surreal. In a vague memory of my past life, I recognized living at my aunt's, but details were missing. Mom always claimed Aunt and Uncle despised me, picking me up out of disdain. But that was clearly a lie. When I thought I successfully distanced myself from last life's nightmare, a glitch in time snapped me back to reality. Aunt and Uncle lived in Shanghai, visiting home every few years. Before a homecoming, Aunt dolled me up in shiny shoes, a trendy puffer, and 2 braided pigtails that I knew she wanted my parents to see I was thriving. But come on, Aunt. Did they even care? The outfit really worked. My mom couldn't take her eyes off me, and she even seemed a bit jealous. After dinner, I was lying in my room playing video games when she sneaked in. "Hey, do you remember who I am?" she asked. "Of course I do," I replied, flashing a sweet smile and raising my voice on purpose. "You're my birth mom who abandoned me." Don't shout," she said, quickly covering my mouth. "I'm your real mom. The mom you have now is actually your aunt. You need to honor me and your dad and help out your little brother. Got it?" I rolled my eyes dramatically. How could this woman still think she could mooch off me after giving her daughter away? "Hey, are you listening?" Susan was getting irritated as I continued ignoring her. "Your little boots and that down jacket are nice. Give them to your brother. James is about your size, and Emily can buy you new ones later." Why is she pretending to be nice, I thought, just to plot something wicked? "Aunt Susan," I asked with an innocent face, "is James a beggar? Why should I give him my clothes?" Seeing her face twist, ready to explode, I felt ecstatic inside and decided to push her further. "Aunt Susan," I added, "my mom always says that you can be ugly, but you shouldn't be ugly and think you're beautiful." Whack. The slap left me seeing stars. "You little brat," she snarled, her eyes burning with rage. "What did you say? Say it again, I dare you." Caught off guard by her overreaction, I thought back to how she used to mock my aunt at home. She's not holding back now. "But hit me and you'll pay for it. Why should your son get all the good stuff while I'm not even allowed a decent piece of clothing?" Glaring at James playing with mud in the courtyard, anger surged within me. I ran outside and slapped the snot-nosed little kid twice. He fell to the ground crying immediately. Then I threw myself down too, rolling around and shouting, "Help! An adult's hitting a kid!" When I reached the doorway, my white down jacket was covered in dirt. The commotion didn't just attract curious onlookers, but also an angry uncle and my dad. "Susan, what are you doing?" My uncle's roar both froze Susan, who had followed me outside, and stopped my cries that I'd never seen my uncle so furious before. Veins popping and face flushed as if ready to explode. "What am I doing?" Susan snapped back, finally recovering. "I'm disciplining my own daughter. Why are you interfering?" She didn't realize her words left onlookers murmuring. "Daughter, isn't Sophia Emily's kid? Wow, this is scandalous." "Maybe Thomas and Susan," one of the villagers whispered to the other, covering a child's ears. Somebody retorted, "She had twins and sent the girl to Emily to save on milk money. What kind of mother does that? Mine was my love. How could she be so cruel?" Hearing these whispers, also audible to Robert and the others, made Susan turn pale. My satisfaction grew watching her get shut down, but I felt a twinge of pain seeing my uncle and aunt equally upset. They never told me who I really was, maybe because they loved me like their own daughter. "Dad, Mom, aren't you going to help me up?" I spoke up as they hesitated. My words and puppy eyes tugged at them, spurring my aunt to gather me into her arms. "Oh dear, are you hurt?" she fussed, tenderly touching my swollen cheek. My uncle reassured me, "Sweetie, your dad and mom love you. Don't listen to your Aunt Susan." Choosing to drown Susan in scorn, I continued, "I know. She can't be my mom. She wants to take my jacket for James and beat me up." The villagers' disdainful murmuring intensified, putting even thick-skinned Susan on edge. Trying to save face, she yanked James forward, jabbing his cheek to prove her point. "Don't listen to her lies. She hit James. Susan's accusations rang out, echoing from my gaming recorder. People gasped in shock, and Robert couldn't bear it any longer. Honey, this isn't right. Let's go home. He pleaded, gently pulling James away. That I'm wrong? Susan shrieked in defiance. I gave my daughter to your sister, and this is how I'm repaid? She's my child. Why shouldn't she give clothes to her brother? Emily can't have kids. Isn't everything going to James anyhow? What's a piece of clothing? Provoked, her words came recklessly. What are you saying? My uncle snapped back. Emily's pregnant. We just got back from the doctor. He thrusted a medical report in her face. See, Emily's 2 months pregnant. Originally, I wanted to tell you all in 3 months, But now, it seems there's no need. We're not coming back to this house anymore. Emily, let's go. Leaving the white couple in shock, Uncle put Aunt and me in the car and drove off. My mind was a mess. In my previous life, Aunt and Uncle didn't have kids. Could my rebirth have changed some things from that life? Until I was 15, Robert and Susan never reached out again. I'm really happy with my life now. My little brother Jack is a sweetie, and Aunt and Uncle's love for me hasn't changed a bit. It'd be perfect if life could stay this peaceful. But there's always something that stirs things up. The summer after the high school entrance exams was hot and dragged on. I lazed around on the couch, telling Jack to do the laundry and make lunch, enjoying myself. Sis, can I take a break? Jack looked at me pitifully. Mom and Dad are on a work trip. You can't just make me do everything. You've got 2 hours of free time. Go ahead. Great. I'll play games. Call me if you need anything. Knock knock. Who is it? I'm your dad. I'm your mom. Huh. Aunt and Uncle said they were on a business trip for half a month. How could they be back already? I opened the door to find a worn-out-looking middle-aged couple outside. Their graying, messy hair made them look even older. Bam! I quickly slammed the door shut. Jack, get out here. There are human traffickers at our door in broad daylight. Where? Where? Jack rushed out from the kitchen with a knife, looking serious. Sis, don't be scared, I'll protect you. I couldn't help but giggle at Jack's small frame. For safety reasons, Aunt and Uncle had me in a taekwondo program for years. Jack probably didn't know that his seemingly fragile sister was actually a taekwondo black belt. But being the kind sister I am, I decided to give the kid a chance to show off, so I darted behind him. Jack, I'm so scared. They're standing right at our door. Knock knock knock. The knocking got more intense when no one answered. And there were angry voices too. Sophia, I know you're home, open the door. If you don't, I'll bust down the Martin family's door. Jack looked bewildered. Sis, how do they know your name? Are they family? Relatives who threaten to bust down our door, how rare. It's your second uncle and aunt. Recognizing the voices, I snorted and plopped down on the couch. Nothing good ever comes from them. They hadn't cared about me in over 10 years. Now showing up unannounced, they must be up to something. I'd be foolish to let them in. The door creaked open. Silly Jack didn't notice my silence and happily ran back to me beaming. Sis, since it's uncle and aunt, we should treat them well. Mom and Dad aren't around, and you can't cook. Let's eat out. Eat out. Ha! Even if they starved and jumped out the window, I wouldn't give them a scrap. Susan walked in, making herself comfortable on the couch, her eyes scanning the room with greed. What do you want? I wasn't in the mood for games. I just wanted them to say their piece, so I could kick them out. Robert kept wringing his hands, brows furrowing, as if speaking was hard for him. Susan, frustrated, jumped in. Sophia, can't we just drop by to see you? We just want I hate you. I interrupted, catching her off guard. She awkwardly laughed. You're just like you were as a kid. Uncle, Aunt, why did you really come here? Jack couldn't hold it in any longer. We've been missing you a lot, it's been so long. Susan even squeezed out a few tears at this point. Crocodile tears. She's always up to no good. After all these years, suddenly showing up and missing me? I went through 9 years of education. I'm not dumb. Sophia, your brother's got end-stage kidney failure and needs a transplant. If you'd be willing, could you get tested to see if you're a match? Robert finally mustered the courage to speak. After all that talk, they wanted my kidney, huh? I snorted. Brother? My brother's fine. You better not make things up, right, Jack? Yeah. Uncle and Aunt, don't jinx it. I can eat 2 bowls of rice at a time. Jack pouted, clearly upset. Sophia, you know exactly who I'm talking about. James is in the hospital. Don't you have any compassion? Susan finally dropped the act. Even if I didn't raise you, I gave you life. A life for a life is only fair. Calm down, you're spraying spit everywhere, I said, wiping my face. Then I calmly added, don't think I don't know. Mom's been secretly sending you money to stop you from taking me back. That's tens of thousands over the years. Enough for James's transplant. What? You had tens of thousands and didn't use it to save James? Robert grabbed Susan by the collar, furious. I needed money for my brother's wedding, house and car. Susan defended herself, then justifying it with confidence. All that money's long gone. Your sister has money, and we have a kidney source. What's there to worry about? Me. It's my kidney, my choice. Nutrege, noir. If James misses his treatment because of you, it's on you. Come on. I dare you. Bring it on. Smack. It's chaos, it's chaos. Looking at them wrestling on the floor, Jack turned to me scared. Then he swiftly hid behind me. Sis, what do we do? Uncle and Aunt are fighting. It's okay, it's okay. It's just a dogfight, I reassured him, ruffling his hair. Don't worry, I've got your back. Then I dialed the phone. Hello, security? Yeah, building 26. 2 beggars came to our house asking for food. Can you come get rid of them? Aha, thanks a lot. Jack, there are no more ghosts in the house. But these past few nights I keep feeling like someone's touching my waist in my sleep. I'm totally done, with these huge bags under my eyes. Jack was laughing so hard he almost fell over. There's no thief. You've just been having nightmares, screaming and kicking your blanket off. Mom just came in to tuck you back in. Laugh, keep laughing. And I'll tell Dad you like Emma. You said Mom is a thief. I'm gonna tell on you. Just as we were messing around, Mom and Dad came home. Dad, Mom, what goodies did you buy? After all these years, I've been calling my aunt and uncle Mom and Dad more than Jack does. Sophia, we'll visit James at the hospital in a bit and clear things up. We don't want them bothering you anymore. Mom handed me a box. Take a few pieces of jujube cake before bed. It'll help you sleep. These dark circles are heavy. Mom, I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I hadn't even said anything, but Mom still knew the root of my nightmares. Sophia, don't worry. Mom, Dad, and Jack will protect you. They can't hurt you. Dad wasn't great with words, but he always knew just what to say to make me feel better. In the hospital room, James was sleeping peacefully. Seeing him like this made me feel a bit sorry for him. If he could be a decent person, maybe I'd consider helping him out. When he noticed someone moving around, James opened his eyes. He looked at me with excitement, like a predator spotting its prey. Dad, Mom, Sophia's here, hold her down. Don't let her run. While trying to be a saint is pointless. I gave Jack a light slap. Sis, why'd you hit me? Jack complained. Silly, because I can't bring myself to hit me. I struggled to keep my tone gentle. Sis is looking out for you. Remember what James looks like now. Don't ever feel sorry for him. Of course. He bullied you, he's not a good guy. I wouldn't help a bad guy. Mom and Dad had already explained everything to Jack, and the overprotective brother immediately put James's family on his blacklist. Sophia, since you're here, you must have some conscience. The other day when you called security on us, I won't hold it against you. So, when are you planning to give James a kidney? Susan put the gifts Mom and Dad brought into the nightstand drawer, sitting by the bed, ready to get her way. Hey, use your brain. Just 'cause we're twins doesn't mean the match will work. Let me break it down for you. First, I won't do the match, and second, even if it works, I'm not donating. Got it? You what? Why don't you donate a kidney to your darling son? You're big and strong, you look pretty healthy. Before she could react, I went up and touched her right side. Yep, that kidney. I bet it'll match James perfectly. Susan gritted her teeth, raising her hand to hit me, but James grabbed her arm. Turning around, he had a, Mom, she's got a point look on his face. Mom, she's probably right. She's skinny, and her kidneys might not be good. You do farm work every day. Your kidneys are definitely healthier than hers. Plus, you're not gonna live for many years. What do you need 2 kidneys for? Just give me one. You. Susan's hand shook, her face pale as a wall. Meanwhile, James continued, and Dad, get tested too, maybe it'll work. As he spoke, he sounded almost accusatory. You two just keep eyeing Sophia's kidneys. Why didn't you think you could be a match too? My sickness has been delayed because of you. James, your mom and I are old. We might not even make it out of surgery. And with just one kidney, we can't work. Robert's lips quivered like he couldn't believe his beloved son could say such a thing. You guys can't handle the surgery, but Sophia can? James didn't care. I was honestly surprised, couldn't believe James could actually say something sensible defending me. Mom, Dad, this is their family drama. Let's not get involved. Seeing the focus shift away, I grabbed my stunned parents and Jack and got out of there. I heard that Susan was a match for James. I heard that Susan didn't want to donate her kidney until Robert forced her to cough up the tens of thousands she'd spent on her brother. I heard that after that, James ran away from home. He blamed his mom for not leaving him the money, and Dad for not even trying to match. But all this is just hearsay. I got into an advanced class, busy with studies and couldn't be bothered with their drama. But sometimes, passing by my parents' room, I hear their quiet discussions and sighs. Hey you there. Wait up. One night, on my way home after evening classes, a blonde guy stopped me. This kid, thin as a stick, looked like he'd fall over if the wind blew. Once he saw I stopped, he handed me a piece of paper. The guys who used to chase me were cool and good-looking, not like this skinny blonde kid. Too low quality for my standards. I shook my head. Not taking love letters, not dating. Bye. No wait, I'm not. The blonde's ears turned bright red in frustration, but I took off before he could react. As if, I've got 5 or 6 practice exams to prep for tonight. No way a blonde is messing up my focus. The next day, I took a different route, but the blonde caught up again. I was annoyed. You stalking me? First, I'm not trying to date you. Second, following you as a last resort. I honestly needed to warn you. The blonde wasn't happy, shoved the note in my hand, and ran off. Ha, dude, you kinda got my attention, but not for long. I tossed the note into the trash right away. On the third day, some guy with green hair stopped me on my way home. But this green-haired guy seemed less friendly than the yellow-haired guy. Instead of pulling out a love letter, he pulled out a switchblade. Sophia, give me the money. You got the wrong person. I'm Ava. I kept a straight face, secretly proud of my quick thinking. Ava's gotta pay too. Hand over all your money. Green hair glared and pushed the knife closer. Come on, man. I'm just a broke student. I don't have a dime on me. Don't lie, Sophia. Aren't your parents always giving you cash? Where's the money, huh? Green hair was well informed. I blinked. Do I know you? Quickly, green hair pulled his mask up, like he had something to hide. Stop talking, and just give me all your money, or I'll stab you. James, is it that bad for you now? I stared him down. Who are you? When you pulled up your mask, I saw the scar on your chin. I left that when I slapped you. I felt a bit smug. Just a bit. We're from the same mother, right? Why do you live in the city while I'm stuck in the country suffering? Why are you healthy while I'm sick all the time? Why do aunt and uncle love you so much, while my mom couldn't even donate a kidney to me? I went silent, seeing James nearly consumed by envy. Good questions, James. Why? Because in a past life, I was wrung out like a rag at your house until fate cut me some slack, letting me have a second chance. I value life more. I understand gratitude better. I love life more. Not that James would get it. I sighed. That's just fate, I guess. Fate? Die then. Let's see what fate you'll enjoy. James, looking crazed, lunged at me with the knife. Just as I was about to kick it away, someone shoved me aside and wrestled with James. I fell hard before I could use any moves I learned from my master. Who is this guy? And why is he butting in? Getting up was rough after that hard tumble. I turned back, furious, only to see yellow hair clutching his arm, wincing. Seeing my gaze, he tried to play it cool. It's nothing, just a scratch. Don't worry about it. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. What? Yellow hair's confused look was kinda cute. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I gritted out, repeating myself. Realizing what I meant, his face flushed. I rushed in because you were in danger. Then he looked a bit wronged. I warned you not to walk home alone in that note. Where's James? The cops took him away. Thanks, yellow hair. I ruffled his hair casually. Don't touch my head. He swatted my hand away, annoyed. And don't call me yellow hair. It's Ethan. Huh. Sitting at the police station, everything felt surreal. I met Ethan in college last time around. He mentioned us being classmates in high school, but I didn't care then. Thinking about it now, maybe this was fate. But my husband, tall and fit, good-looking with an 8-pack to boot. Why's he a yellow hair now? Should I slip away while he doesn't know me? I mean, love is free, and it's not like I'm ditching him. But he treated me so well before, except for our rose over James. He spoiled me without letting me slack. Apart from the stars and the moon, he gave me anything I wanted. Maybe Ethan's playing the long game in this life. If he's still a CEO later on, and I leave him now, other women will spend his money. Thinking of this pained me a little. Oh well, might as well give him a shot. I looked at Ethan, ready to share this great news, but saw him awkwardly staring back, as if he had something to say. We both spoke up at the same time. Saved my life. Might as well offer myself, be my boyfriend. You've got a piece of scallion on your tooth. Is there a hole I can crawl into? Cursed Jack. If he hadn't insisted on scallion pancakes for lunch, I wouldn't be embarrassed here. What did you say? Ethan leaned closer, ignoring the messy yellow hair. I could kind of see his handsome features. I said, back off. I snapped. Wait, the girl didn't want a love letter or romance. Who was it again? What a smug grin. Just as I considered giving this kid a lesson, my folks charged in. Their silhouettes reached me in no time. Sweetie, you okay? My parents, eyes red and teary, clutched me, frantically inspecting me. Sis, don't die. I'll let you have the snacks and TV. As much as I hate to admit it, the sob-ridden mess of a kid was indeed my little brother, Jack. Sophia, you little brat. You landed James in jail. How could you be so evil? Robert and his wife Susan nearly burst in, only stopped by the police. If someone with only one kidney can still move so wildly, I guess her health's been fine. Sophia, James is your brother after all. You don't want him in prison, do you? Robert not only tried to guilt-trip me, but also dragged my mom into it. Emily, we're family. Why make it ugly? I just contacted a private school for James in September. His record needs to stay clean. Really, uncle? I see James as a nephew. Do you see Sophia as a daughter or even a niece? If James needs money, I can give it to him, as long as he doesn't hurt Sophia. I'll pay any amount. But if he wants Sophia's life, that's a hard no for me. Mom spoke with such power and conviction that not only did it make Robert hang his head in shame, but it also made my eyes sting with emotion. We almost didn't get to see Sophia again, and James thinks he can get away scot-free. Does that seem right, bro? Dad emphasized the word bro so much that it was kind of scary. I could almost sense a little threat in the air. Sophia's fine now, isn't she? Why is she all lively and my James still locked up? Susan complained. Stop arguing. James is suspected of attempted murder. There's no way he's getting out of this. The police officer cut Susan off bluntly, adding salt to her wound. You should focus more on getting a letter of forgiveness from the victim. Maybe that'll help reduce the sentence. At those words, Susan rolled her eyes and fainted, while Robert crouched in the corner banging his head. The police station was a chaotic mess, but our place was pretty peaceful. I agreed with my parents. We weren't going to provide any letter of forgiveness. James needed to spend more time behind bars to learn his lesson. As for Ethan, he was getting a scolding from both Dad and Mom. It turns out that during his rebellious phase, he dyed his hair blonde and frequently hung out at internet cafes. That's why he spotted James, lurking around and following me for days. When we parted ways, Ethan had saved my life, so Jack warmed up to him, calling him brother. Ethan just gave a sly smile and said, "You're calling me the wrong thing," before getting in the car with his parents and leaving. Sis, that guy's weird. If he calls me brother, what else should I call him? Jack looked at me all innocent-like. I silently cursed at how clever Ethan was and said, "Call him a fool then. Don't think too much about it. I'll make you something delicious tomorrow." Huh. Why's my sister suddenly being so nice to me? I love my sister the best. Kids' attention shifts so quickly. I let out a small sigh of relief. But when I saw Dad and Mom's knowing looks, I couldn't help but blush. Years later, Jack looked at the boyfriend I brought home and thought he seemed familiar. It wasn't until he jokingly said, "Jack, call me brother-in-law," that the memories clicked for Jack. People say girls change a lot when they grow up. I think guys aren't far off either. Ethan went through a major transformation from high school to college. From a kid with blonde hair to the handsome guy I knew so well. Sophia, you're amazing. I was so out there in high school, and you still liked me. One day while on a date, Ethan looked at me with such happiness in his eyes, little stars twinkling. Haha. It's because I knew how the story ended. Sophia, what did you say? What story? Oh, I said back then, with your blonde hair you were as dazzling as a prince with a crown in a drama. I was irresistibly, hopelessly, and deeply in love with you. I tried my best to sound sincere. All those sweet nothings I'd gotten used to saying in front of love struck Jack. Ethan was a bit skeptical. Then why did you say at first you didn't want to date? Oh, a little trick of playing hard to get, trying to catch your attention. I wondered if I'd be struck by lightning for saying so many things I didn't really mean. Really? Sophia's the best. Ethan hugged me tightly and gave me a serious kiss on my forehead. After we graduate, let's get married. Sure. Better lock down such a great guy early, I thought, picturing a future where I got a generous allowance every month. I smiled and said, "Sweetheart, you're my favorite." A few years later, I accepted Ethan's proposal, and both sides of the family set a wedding date. During the wedding, while Ethan and I were exchanging rings, 3 people stormed into the hall. One was fuming, "Sophia, how could you get married without telling me and your father? How can you let the dowry go to an outsider?" Another was irate, "Sophia, it should have been Dad holding your hand, giving you away to Ethan." The third was all teary-eyed, "Sister, I was wrong. Can you and brother-in-law support me? I haven't been able to find a job since I got out of the joint. Only our family and guests from my parents' side knew about my background. The others didn't. So after this unfolded, the room was filled with whispers. It was like when the fruit is ripe, they come to pick it. When a daughter marries, they come to benefit. When they've been through prison, now they show remorse. The 3 really had the nerve to make a scene at one of the most important moments of my life. So I decided not to hold back. With a slight smile, I took the host's microphone. "Everyone, may I have your attention?" I signaled the lighting person to shine a spotlight on them. "Let me introduce you to some folks. This woman is the birth mother who abandoned me at birth. This man is the birth father who ignored me for over 20 years. This scum almost killed me when he called himself my brother. Do they deserve to be called parents? Do they deserve to be considered siblings?" Watching them squirm under the lights like clowns, I felt no guilt, only a sweet sense of revenge. They, not those 3, were the ones I considered Mom and Dad. Ignoring the trespassers, I motioned the light over to my aunt and uncle. These are my aunt and uncle who adopted me and treated me like their own daughter. They've always given me more than their own son Jack, and they are the ones who should be here on my wedding day. Ethan sensibly supported the train of my dress as I knelt to give my aunt and uncle 3 respectful bows, saying, "Mom, Dad, your love and care for me over more than 2 decades weigh heavier than anything else. Now that your daughter has her own family, it's time for me to repay you. Oh child, get up. Mom was flustered, trying to help me up, tears in her eyes, playfully scolding, "Look, you've hurt your head." Dad turned away, continuously wiping his tears. I looked at Ethan. He gave me a nod, then waved his hand. "Security, escort these 3 lunatics out." All right, with relatives like this, who wouldn't be prepared? And just like that, the 3 of them were tossed out like little chicks. "Sophia, Robert, will they be all right?" Grandma couldn't sit still. I wasn't sure if she was worried about her son, grandson, or definitely not her daughter-in-law. "Grandma, don't worry. They'll be fine." I gently put my hand on her shoulder. "Today is my wedding. You don't want it to be a mess, do you?" "Oh well, all right then." Over the years, I've showered her with gifts and sent her big envelopes of money during the holidays, partly to thank her for giving me to my aunt, and partly to shift her affection a bit towards Mom after years of favoring Robert. It's hard to talk with your mouth full or hold back when you're on the receiving end, so she didn't have much to say. "Sis, all set, we can continue the ceremony." Jack bounced over and handed me the ring. With Mom and Dad watching me with mixed emotions, I slowly walked toward Ethan, who was smiling at me. Under the lights, I suddenly felt so happy that I got a bit dizzy. In a haze, I saw past life Ethan overlapping with this life Ethan. Ethan, who would sulk in silence, Ethan, who cried when I got hurt, Ethan, who'd eat every bite of the meals I cooked despite pretending to loathe them, Ethan, who couldn't sleep when Robert and his family bullied me. They all walked toward me, transforming into the Ethan holding the ring in front of me now. Sophia, you don't want to marry me? I must have zoned out, because Ethan was shaking my shoulder with one hand and holding the ring with the other, looking all forlorn, like a puppy left out in the rain. I do. What do I do? I just want to kiss him and tease him. As if reading my thoughts, Ethan's cheeks turned a suspicious shade of pink. Not now, Sophia. Later tonight, he whispered in my ear as he slipped the ring on my finger. Geez, what was he thinking? Not at all innocent. I rolled my eyes. When the officiant announced the newlyweds could exit, I hugged Ethan, my husband, tightly. How lucky I am to have lived again and met Mom, Dad, and Jack, receiving the complete love from parents and siblings. How lucky I am to meet you again, fall in love with you, and walk together on this journey, Ethan. How lucky in this life to be free from that vampire family and live my life to the fullest. The end.